Hi, I'm the Ish Girl, and you're listening to episode 1 of Connection, Not Perfection. Welcome to Connection, Not Perfection, the podcast that helps parents and teens connect using literature, laughter, and love. Hi there. I am so excited that you're with me today. My name is Amy, and I'm also known as the Ish Girl. And if you've joined me, I think I can assume one of a couple of things about you. First, I think you might be here because you really want to connect with your teen, and you're looking for new ways to do that. Or you might be here because you love young adult books. Either way, you are in exactly the right spot. If you're like me, you want to navigate parenting well. You want to be able to connect with your teens. You want to be able to celebrate the great stuff with them. And you also want to be able to be there for them in the tough times and help them walk through that and advise them and be their consultant, so to speak. And to do that, you have to have a good relationship. And if you're a lot like me, then you probably mess that up sometimes. I know I mess up a lot. And when I've really tanked it on some things with my kids, whether I've kind of blown up at them and lost my temper, or I've forgotten something, or we've just tangled a little bit, I know it's so easy to beat myself up. And through the years, as I've parented my two kiddos who are both teenagers now, one of the things that I came up with is the Ish Girl, which is, by my definition, one who has humorous grace with herself when discovering she's messed up or flaked out again. And I came up with that because I'm working really hard to find meaning and connection in those messy moments when I've messed up or my kids have messed up. And when I can focus on staying connected rather than being perfect, then I find things go a lot better with me and with my kiddos. And I want to teach them to be resilient and to forgive easily and quickly and to be able to have grace and mercy with the people around them. So that's where Connection, Not Perfection came from. I want to connect. I won't ever be perfect, but I do want to be able to connect well with my family. Now, speaking of, I am really torn because a lot of the examples and the things that I have to share are about my kiddos, but I want to be able to protect their privacy, protect them, and keep them safe in every way possible. So as I walk through this process of podcasting and blogging and sharing on social media, I just hope that you'll bear with me as I kind of navigate that process of keeping them safe while still sharing the very real and authentic things that happen with our family as we work to connect. Now, I know I don't need to convince you that connecting with your teen is important because that's why you're here, right? But there's something that I really want you to understand, and that is that books can be an amazing tool to help create that connection. Now, you might be skeptical about that. You may be asking, really? And my answer to that would be yes, 1,000 times yes. Here's why. Actions speak louder than words. We know this as adults, right? When somebody doesn't follow through on something they tell us, or they say one thing but then do something completely different, that sends us a message. It's the same way with our kids. When you read what your teen is reading, you really are telling them several things. You're telling them where they fall in your list of priorities, and you're telling them how much you value them. So here is what plowing through that young adult novel is really telling your teen. There are 5 things here that I'm going to highlight. The first one is, when you read that young adult novel that your teen is reading, you're telling them the things that you like are important to me. When you investigate the things that your teen is really into in a way that's open and receptive, it really says that you're interested in the things that they like and you're validating their choices. The second thing is you're telling them, I'm willing to invest time getting to know you better. Teens really do know how busy you are, even if you don't tell them all the time, which I sometimes fall into the habit of doing. They know how busy we are. They know how carefully we guard our time. And when you spend your precious moments and time on the things that they love, it communicates in such a powerful way. You're telling them that they really matter to you, and you're doing it in a way that that words really can't convey, you're showing them, again, with your actions. Number 3, you're telling them that their opinion matters to you. And especially when you go beyond just reading what they're reading, when you can talk to them about it and have a really good discussion, and you talk to them in a way that honors their opinion, even when you disagree, that really communicates respect, and it's going to foster a willingness to share openly next time as well. Number 4, I like talking to you about stuff. So again, if you're like me, it's so easy to slip into the habit of only talking to your teen about all the to-dos, like have you done your homework, or when is your band concert, or how long is practice tomorrow, or have you cleaned your bathroom, or do you have any laundry? Now, when you can engage in conversations beyond, the daily grind of the routines that we have, it really signals that you enjoy them beyond giving them instructions or coordinating schedules. And let's be really honest here. There are so many people telling our teens what to do, where to be, what homework they have to turn in. People are telling them what to do all the time. So really stopping and talking to them about what they're interested in and what their opinions are, powerful, just powerful. Now, number 5, and this is one of my favorites, when you read that young adult book and you talk to your kids about it, it says that someday we're going to make the transition to being friends. Now, you may agree or disagree with me on this, but I very, very strongly believe that it is not my job to be my teenager's friend right now. And that's hard because I really want them to like me. But more importantly, I want them to grow up to be responsible, hardworking, great adults. And so that means I don't get to be their friend right now sometimes. I have to be the mom, and that's okay. But as an adult, I know that the promise of friendship later is there. So I know that when they are adults and when they are off on their own, that I'll be able to be friends with them then. And by picking up that young adult book and having these conversations, that's kind of the beginning taste of what that's going to look like 10 years from now or however long from now. So really, when you're connecting with them through books, you're modeling what that future can look like. Putting in the time to read what your teen is reading has the potential for a huge payoff because you're already building bridges that will be there when the big stuff comes along. You can talk about big stuff when it's not personal with books, right? Because you're talking about characters and you're talking about plots. You're not talking about your teen and their experiences or their friends' experiences either, because I would say most teens are just fiercely protective of their teens. I don't know what you're of their friends. Most teens are fiercely protective of their friends is what I'm trying to say here. And I think that you would probably agree with me on that. That's pretty characteristic of most kiddos. So rather than hashing out how you feel about really big things that come along when they're personal, if you can look at it through the lens of a book, it makes things so much less emotional, and you really have kind of a neutral ground to be able to talk about those big things in a way that reveals to your teen how you might react if they come to you with something like that. So they get to see what your reaction is going to be. And then you also get to see how they think about those things, what their philosophy is, if you will, or their worldview is on a lot of the things that go on. And so those payoffs are huge to really be able to communicate well together. And you really get to know who your kid is. That's, again, my favorite, like really getting to know who they are as they grow and as they're changing so rapidly during these years when their brain is just expanding and growing and their body is changing and all those great things that go on when they're teens. It's just really great to be able to keep up and know who they are. Now, some of you may be listening and thinking, oh my goodness, I can't get my teenager to speak more than 2 words to me, much less have a whole full-on book discussion. I get that. That's reality sometimes. And I think we've all been through seasons where our teenagers have been less than communicative. But I would just encourage you to persist in reading what your teen is reading and just subtly dropping questions into your conversations with them. Because I really believe that every attempt to connect, whether they respond with disinterest or frustration or irritation, it's still communicating really great things to them. And eventually, those things are going to have an impact. For myself personally, during seasons when my teens have answered in monosyllables or grunts, yes, no, fine, maybe, and they're never initiating conversations, if I can talk books with them, I've been so surprised to find that they will initiate conversations about the books they're reading with me. And they may not be talking to me about anything else at the time, but they'll talk to me about what they're reading, which, is great. And I still remember sitting in the car with my then 13-year-old. And at the time, it was a very, very frustrating season for us both, I think. And when this child of mine turned to me and said, "Hey, I've been reading this book about," and I don't even remember what the book was, but she was sharing it with me at a time when she had not shared anything in so long. I just remember tears in my eyes, which I quickly dashed away because I knew if she saw it, it would really kill the moment. And we were able to really have a good talk about the characters in the book and why she liked it. And it was just a really sweet moment of connection for us. And that is something I want for you. It's something I want for your teen, because connecting with your teens now during these teen years, it's just crucial. It's crucial in order to be able to be there for them when times get hard. Now, if you could have these conversations, again, about characters in books that aren't real in a way that communicates information about things like depression or sex and dating and academic pressure and friendship and all those big things that your teen is either wrestling with right now or they will at some point, then you're ahead of the game. Now, some of you may be feeling really overwhelmed because you barely have enough time to read all the books you really want to, much less your teens' books. Or maybe you're not a reader at all. No matter where you land on this, it's so important to me that I would love to share some resources with you. Now, clearly, reading the book is what my first choice would be for you. But I get that that's not always possible. So I'd like to invite you to tune in each week, firstly, because I'll be talking about specific books and highlighting the issues in each of them, and I'll be sharing questions that you can ask your teens about them. And I do plan to give detailed descriptions of the books that I talk about. There are definitely going to be spoilers, so if you are wanting to read the book and planning to read it, I would advise you to not listen to those episodes of Connection, Not Perfection until after you finished reading it. In the meantime, if you want to go ahead and jump in with your teen right now, you know what they're reading and you're curious about it, and you want to try talking to them about the things that they're reading about and the issues that are in the books that they're going through, whether it's for school or for fun or whatever, then I would encourage you to head to my website, theishgirl.com. That's TheIshgirl.com. There, I've recommended several books in the What to Read Next feature of my homepage, and you can also download my questions for any book. It's a freebie that I've created, and there will be a pop-up box that shows up on that homepage, and if you want to just fill that out, I will shoot you an email with that resource in it. It's a really great way to help you get the conversation started with your teen. So that's it. I would just love to thank you for being with me today on this very first episode of the podcast. And until next time, remember, from an Ish girl who is in the trenches with you, parenting teens, it is all about connection, not perfection.